Hello everyone and Assalamu alaikum. This is Introduction to Psychology Part 2 by Dear Knowledge. Okay, we have successfully completed the Chapter 1, which was all about the motivation. We have discussed motivation in great detail in our previous videos under the Chapter 1. If you haven't watched that video or you have missed any of the lecture, I've given all the links in the description section. If any of the link is missing, you can ask me in the comment section and I will update the description section for you. I have provided all the previous lecture in a proper sequence. Go ahead, click on those links and watch those videos. Now, in this video, we'll start with Chapter 2. And in Chapter 2, we will be learning about emotions. So just in order to give you a little chapter overview, so in this chapter we will be learning about the defining emotion, in which we will just discuss the definition of emotion according to different well-known people. What does emotion actually means? This whole thing will be discussed in the topic defining emotion, and after that we will discuss about the components of emotion, what type of components are included in emotion, and after that we will move towards the characteristics of emotion, and then we'll discuss the functions of emotion, what are the functions of emotions, and after that we will do a discussion on the arousal of emotions, and physiological correlates of emotion will be our next topic. After that we will learn about the physiological changes that occurs during the emotions, and after that we will learn about the facial expressions. In this chapter we will also learn about the management and control of emotions and management of emotion and emotional intelligence or emotion intelligence, which is the fine art of self-control. So again, chapter will be a bit longer than expected because I've tried to include all those important points in this chapter. So this video and these lectures will be very helpful for you throughout your life, or we can say permanently. So that's why, in order to make the video a bit more enjoyable, I have divided this video into different parts, this chapter into different parts. So in this video we will be starting with the part 1 of the chapter 2. In part 1 of the chapter 2, we will discuss the definitions of emotion. We will define emotion, and after that we will learn about the components of emotions. So let's start with emotions. Okay, emotions colors our life. We all know that emotions color our lives, and we are green with envy, red with anger, blue with sorrow, and positive emotions such as love and desire can fill our days with pleasure, but whereas the negative emotions such as fear, depression, and anger can fill us with dread and make each day a chore. And an emotion can at once be a reason to a situation, in the way that fear is a response to threat, and it can also motivate our behavior, in the way that anger can motivate us to act aggressively. Now, an emotion can also be a goal in itself. We may behave in ways that will lead us to experience joy or feelings of love. Now, emotions are states of feelings that have cognitive, physiological, and behavioral components, and other autonomic response or other autonomic nervous system. For example, fear, which usually occurs in response to a threat, and it involves cognition that one is in danger. Predominantly sympathetic arousal, which include the rapid heartbeat and breathing, sweating, muscle tension, and tendencies to avoid to avoid or escape from situation as a reason to a social provocation. Now, anger involves cognition that a provocator should be paid back, which include both sympathetic and parasympathetic arousal and tendencies to attack. Depression usually involves cognitions of helplessness and hopelessness, and predominantly parasympathetic arousal and behavioral tendencies towards inactivity, or sometimes self-destruction is involved. joy, grief, jealousy, disgust, embarrassment, liking, all have cognitive, uh, physiological, and behavioral components. And generally speaking, the greater the autonomic arousal, the more intense the emotion is. Now, if you talk about defining emotion, so basically it is difficult to define emotion because our emotional experience is so varied and complex. In psychology, the word emotion stands for the state of excitement in an organism. And the term emotion has been originated from a Latin word, which is emover. Spelling is Emovere, which means to stir up, to agitate, or to excite. Now, motivation also arouses our behavior, but emotions don't have needs along with. Um, Hence, an emotion can be referred to as stirred up state of an organism which initiates and directs behavior. Emotion is a pattern of responses to an event that is relevant to the goals or needs of the organism. And the responses include physiological arousal, impulses to action, thought, and expression of all these. And according to this definition, individuals who don't have needs, goal, or concerns can't experience emotion. This was a definition given by Frigida, Frigda, in 1998. And the needs or goals may be as fundamental as food, shelter, and survival, or they may be as complex as the yearning for love, an ambition to win a Nobel Prize, and etc. So let's start with defining emotion. Now we will discuss and we will learn about some definitions that were given by some famous or well-known people. So let's start with the P.T. Young. According to him, emotion is an acute disturbance in the organism as a whole, psychological in origin, involving behavior, consciousness, or behavior, conscious experience, and visual functioning. Now, the next definition is about Woodward. According to him, each emotion is a feeling and each at the same time a motor set. Fear is set for escape, anger for attack, happiness to laugh, and grief to cry. The next one is given by the Gates, and according to him, emotions are the episodes in which the individual is moved or excited. Then the next definition is about Crow, and according to him, an emotion can be defined as stirred up state of the organism. The emotional state involves feeling tones, which are accompanied by marked physiological changes. Then there is another definition that is given by the Driver, and according to him, emotion is a complex state of organism involving bodily changes of a widespread character in breathing, pulse, gland secretion, and on the mental side, a state of excitement marked by strong feeling. And then there is another definition which was given by Acharya G. Morris, and according to him, emotion is an affective experience that involves diffused physiological changes and can be expressed overtly in characteristics, behavior patterns. Then last but not least, Lifton, and according to him, emotion is a subjective feeling or response generally accompanied by a physiological change and usually associated with behavior. So these were all about the definitions of emotion, and we have learned and we were able to define emotion. So let's move to our next topic, which is about components of emotion. Now, basically, there are 4 components of emotion. The first one is cognitive process, then subjective feelings, physiological arousal, and behavioral responses. Now, these are the 4 components of emotion which we will be discussing one by one. So let's start with the cognitive process. So perception, thinking, and memory are very much involved in emotional expression. So we can say that conscious process are essential to emotion. Then the next component is subjective feelings. Now, according to this, which is universal in nature, one might adopt it more than other or less than other, but all emotion include subjective feelings involving both a general positive or negative emotion state and a specific feeling tone, such as for anger, fear, or disgust. Then the next component of emotion is physiological arousal. Now, according to the physiological arousal, which is one of the components of emotion, emotions are typically associated with mild to extreme changes in physiological process occurring within our bodies. Then the last component of emotion is behavioral response or behavioral patterns. We can also consider it as a behavioral response or behavioral patterns. Now, according to this component of emotion, emotions often occurs emotions often cause us to act out or express our feelings. These expressions may range from crying, screaming, or verbal outburst to smiling and laughing. So this was all about today's video. If your concept is clear, you can like the video. If not, you can ask us in the comment section and we will be happy to help you out. Plus, if you're new to this channel, you can subscribe to our channel, subscribe to Dear Knowledge, click on the bell icon so you will never ever miss any notification. You can also share the link of this channel, share the link of this video with your family members and friends, because sharing is caring. Until then, Allah Hafiz.